Welcome back. Welcome back to Formula 4 Average, and we have a new championship leader, which is Kimi Antonelli. Just 19 years and, if my calculations are correct, 216 days old. He's the youngest ever driver in F1 to lead Formula 1 championship. So let's discuss the Japanese Grand Prix. And first, of course, we have to start with the start, which was not great for Antonelli. Antonelli basically, I don't want to use a curse words, but he did have a bad start. I believe after lap 1 he was P6, so basically he had a wheel spin and everything went wrong in the first lap. Yeah, that's what happened. However, he used the safety car situation in his advance. So yes, for him, the moment when the safety car came out, and we will discuss the Behrman's crash which happened, but basically it played into his hands and he got a better pit stop than his teammate. But if he wants to be, let's say, in the long-term fight and maintain the lead in the championship, he has to work on the race starts. Similar as, I guess, Lando Norris last year or year before, he was struggling with the race starts. It seems that Antonelli currently has the same or similar issue. Yes, I know different regulations and whatnot, but still the result is the same. Antonelli had a bad start. On the other hand, Piastri, I mean, yes, Antonelli was great and everything, and he won the race, and he's now leading the championship. Very great. However, Piastri, finally, he had a race. I'm so glad and happy that everything went smoothly for him in this time. As we know, in the first two races, he had a DNS or did not start. Now he finished P2. So in that sense, great result. And after the first lap, he was leading, or maybe first two laps or something, he was leading. But then, no, he was leading up until the first pit stops, I believe. But then, of course, the safety car came right in that moment. I don't remember which laps exactly it was, like, let's say something in 16, 17, something like that. So it was the situation when some of the drivers had already pitted, then some were waiting to do the pit stops, and then the safety car came. So some won, some lost. Antonelli won. Piastri, in a sense, lost. However, he also said in the post-race interview that most likely, even without the safety car, like, he had no chance to fight Antonelli. However, while McLaren was in front, they looked competitive and they looked good. Yes, Mercedes was right on their tail. However, it was not such a big advantage. In comparison, when Antonelli got a free air and he was leading the race, then he just drove away. It was, 13.7 seconds at the end. So yeah, in that sense, there was no fighting back. And but yeah, of course, all of that is great. So these are the great news, I think, from Antonelli. I'm happy for him. Piastri, happy for him. But might as well, of course, there were some, let's say, not so great performances and not so favorable situations. So if we take a look at the race result at the table, so here's the table. Yeah, of course, as I said already, Antonelli, Piastri. And then in third place was Leclerc. Decent race, I would say. He looked actually very good at the end and the second stint. And I was surprised because actually Hamilton was in P3 after the after the safety car, and Hamilton won, or basically he got to P3 because of the safety car. So he had a slow he lost less time during the pit stop, so the safety car played in his favor. However, his race pace in the second stint unfortunately was not there. He was not able to hold back nor Leclerc, nor Russell, nor or Lando Norris at the end. So basically at the end he was P6. So in a nutshell, Leclerc was better this time. If we think about China, then Lewis was deserving the place he got, or the podium he got, but this time I believe it was well deserved for Charles, and he did what he needed to do just because he had a better race pace overall. Russell, P4. He most likely is one of the most devastated persons after this race, because nothing went his way. If you remember yesterday from qualifying, that was already bad. He was struggling with the car, could not the setup was not correct for him. The car was sliding and whatnot, and understeering. And today the safety, he pitted, and basically I believe in the next lap or in the next two laps the safety car came out. So he was it did not play in his hand there, so he lost a couple of places. But even with that, I mean, he was struggling. Leclerc, I believe, overtook him during the race, and he was struggling. He was not able to put. Yes, Leclerc did overtake him. Yes, I'm now remembering what happened. And after the race, Toto Wolff even said that his expression was something like, "We gave to George super clipping at the moment when it didn't need to be super clipping," or something like that. So basically, it sounded something that, again, this power distribution and power management did not play into George's hands, and basically he lost to Leclerc. And never was not able to fight back. He was very close. He even in the penultimate lap he overtook Leclerc, but then Leclerc took back the position in the straight finish line, and George was not able to overtake Leclerc anymore. So he was right there, but not quite. So this was not great weekend for George, and he lost also the championship lead to Antonelli. But yeah, not great weekend for him. Norris, I don't know, what can I say? No surprises there. Had a decent race. Overtook Hamilton at the end, but overall, nothing spectacular, and I believe we can say that he was the second best car out of two McLarens. So deserved P5, yes, but nothing more. Hamilton, I already mentioned, P6. Ultimately did not have the pace in the second half of the race. Don't know why, but that's just the case. And then Gasly, Verstappen, Lawson, Ocon, the four drivers closing the top 10. Gasly, good race, and I'm glad to see that Alpine is capable of fighting for some points. They are definitely not yet podium material, but at least they are there. They are able to fight. They are basically best of the rest at the moment, or at least Gasly is, and so on. Verstappen, well, I'm sorry for him at the moment, but he has a bad car, and also Hajar said he ultimately finished P12, but I believe he said in some interview I read that the car was slow and it was even dangerous to drive. I'm not sure what he meant by that, but Red Bull car at the moment is not great, and they can't fight for podiums at the moment. So. And Verstappen, even after the qualifying, I believe, said that well, there are these rumors all the time in the air that that Verstappen might leave the F1 championship just because he is not happy and so on. Everything is bad at the moment and so on. And after the qualifying yesterday, I believe he said that he needs to evaluate his life choices or whatever. So time will tell, but the feeling or the mood at Red Bull camp at the moment is not great, and they are not able to fight for podiums or at least be better than the Ferraris, McLarens, or Mercedes, of course. So they are where they are. And yeah, Liam Lawson, decent race, I must say. Scored 2 points, so I guess okay race. Ocon finally outscored his teammate. However, here I must transition to his teammate, and luckily his teammate Oliver Bearman got out of the crash unharmed. Well, not quite unharmed. There was some bruising for his foot, I believe, but he was cleared from the medical center, so all good in that sense. Probably will hurt for a couple of days or weeks, but overall he'll be fine. But he had a scary crash. It was measured more than 50 G when at the moment of impact. Basically lost the car because, well, it's a tricky one. So here we come to the point that many drivers are saying that these differences between the closing speeds is too high, and that it becomes dangerous. And apparently this one was one of the cases when the closing speed of the Bearman was, and the other car was Colapinto, and Colapinto sort of moved to the left in the middle of this small straight, you call it whatever you would like to call it, and the Bearman was closing too fast, and Colapinto moved left, and in order to avoid Colapinto, he had to take avoiding action, lost the control of the car, and went off the track and smashed into the barriers. The stewards said that no further action or investigation. So it was not that Colapinto was at fault, but it was apparently unnecessary maneuver he did. So basically, he was not charging his battery, but he was so slow that Bearman was closing so fast, and then Colapinto moved, that it was just unfortunate. And these are the things that the drivers have been saying to FIA, that these things might happen just because of the delta or the difference between the speed of the cars, how fast one is traveling and how fast the other is closing, and that these kind of situations might happen. We remember that the same Colapinto in the first race avoided who it was who he avoided. I don't remember now. Was it Lindblad or someone? And did not crash into him in the start, but these things might happen, and the FIA have now responded to this, and they have said that they are evaluating all these rule changes and everything. So they need to gather some data. I hope that this data will not be, let's say, based on some serious crash. Well, this was serious crash, I must say, but luckily without any big consequences. I mean, for health, but F1 is evaluating, and they said that during the April there will be multiple meetings where they will evaluate these rules and maybe make some tweaks to the changes. So to the rules, or make some changes to the rules. So we'll see what will happen. But at the moment, this is an issue and there are, let's say, unexpected differences in speeds between the cars, which causes dangerous situations. So and the FIA have sort of said or promised that they will take a look what can be improved. So Bearman, unfortunately had this crash. Good thing, as I said, that he's relatively unharmed, and everything will be fine. but yeah, not a great situation there. What else? I mean, not great race for Aston Martin. Well, depends on what is their sort of target, right? So if their target is to finish the race at least with one car, then they managed to do it. If they want to finish with both cars, then they didn't manage to do it. So Lance Stroll was DNF due to some issue with the car. I don't know what was the issue, but he DNF'd. So, but at least Fernando Alonso finished the race. I'm not sure how his hands or his feet are feeling now. Hopefully, no permanent nerve damage, as it was said some time ago. But he finished he finished the race. I think these are the main things that I wanted to discuss from the main race. So let's take a look at now the championship standings. Let's start with drivers' championship. So as I said, Antonelli is now leading the championship. He is P1. Then Russell is following at 12 points. 9 points. 9 points now behind. And then comes Leclerc in the third place, and then Lewis Hamilton and Norris and Piastri. So Piastri, without participating in 2 races, still is now in P6. So in that sense, not the worst, of course, starts. Well, you can argue, of course, it was a bad start for him and for this season, but he's P6 at the moment and 51 points behind championship leader. So yeah, Behrman has now dropped to P7, and Max Verstappen, as we see, is only P9 at the moment in the championship. So that's let's say what's the word? Something that we haven't used to seeing though. So yeah, P9 only for Max Verstappen, and we see that Isaac Hadjar is even behind Lawson and Lindblad. So yeah, in this race also Hadjar did not manage to score any points. Yes, he was unfortunate with the safety car, but still only P12. And Constructors' Championship, Mercedes is leading the pack, 135 points. Then comes Ferrari and then McLaren. Basically, pretty much as the same situation as we saw in the Drivers' Championship, we see also in the Teams' Championship, which is logical, right? So, yeah, and Red Bull only P5 at the moment. Well, they are equal with Alpine and Racing Bulls on the points. But anyways, yeah, this is the situation, and Aston Martin and Cadillac without any points, and it's not looking good, or not looking that they could be even remotely capable of scoring some points this season, to be honest. So this is the situation as we now have after the race in Japan. What's next? So now we have full month without Formula One, unfortunately. So we have 2 races in Middle East which are not happening due to the conflict there, and now the next race is Miami. In weekend starts on May 1st. The race is on May 3rd. So now teams have a lot of time to develop their cars, to work on their cars, to make them faster, better, and etc. etc. So yeah, hope that the teams will use this time. I hope that Ferrari will catch up. I hope that McLaren will catch up. Maybe Red Bull, I don't know, who knows. And we can have a great fights for the lead of the races and for the lead of the championship. So hopefully everybody develops and the field becomes more, let's say, compact. We'll see what will happen. Anyways, next race more than a month away. Meanwhile, stay safe. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.